Good morning, Knicks Nation. Today is Wednesday. It is the 14th day of December 2022. I hope you're safe and healthy today, and I hope that your family is safe and healthy today, and that the needs of you and your family in terms of food, shelter, clothing, as well as health are being met today. Blessings upon those that work in the healthcare field and the first responders who every day are trying to save lives. And those also who pick up garbage for us, to keep streets and sidewalks and stairwells and buildings and hallways clean. And those that make deliveries for our convenience and importance. Also, double blessings on the men and women who are out here trying to help rescue, deliver, and recover the teenagers that are the victims of child molestation and pedophilia. The victims also of child pornography and pornography. The victims of prostitution and child prostitution. The victims also of human trafficking and sex slavery. Double curses on the perpetrators, the profiteers, and the perverts who are out here trafficking in this human misery. Finally, blessings upon the homeless. There are nearly 600,000 men, women, and children that are homeless in the United States right now, mostly children, and millions around the world in similar or worse conditions. Blessings upon them. For theirs is the kingdom. So, this morning, the Knicks are in sole possession of the 6th seed of the Eastern Conference. They are one game behind Philadelphia, who is in the 5th seed, who beat the Kings last night handily. They are a half a game ahead of the 7th seed at this point, and that would be Atlanta. And well, actually, there is a two-way tie between Atlanta and Indiana for the 7th seed. The Knicks are in the 6th seed by themselves, and then Philadelphia is in the 5th seed. Tonight, the Knicks are in Chicago to play the Bulls. Look, a lot of people in Knicks Nation set themselves up for disappointment by counting wins before we get here. Don't count your chickens before they hatch. Every game is tough in the NBA. There's no easy game in the NBA unless it just develops that way. As I continually say, any given night in the NBA, any team could beat any other team in the NBA. That's just how it is. So people were looking at this 2 games in Chicago and just counting 2 wins. Don't do that, because then those are the same type of people that be ready to jump off the bridge and see how bad the Knicks are if they lose the game. Got to take it one game at a time. Right now, the Knicks are 14-13. If they could win tonight, they'll be 15-13. As far as the injuries, now the big question is Jalen Brunson. We don't know. He's listed as questionable for the game. Somebody showed a picture on Twitter yesterday. The Knicks had a team party, Christmas party, I guess it is, and both Brunson, of course, and Obi Toppin were in walking boots. Now that doesn't mean he's not going to play today. Although Obi has already been announced that they're going to evaluate him in a few weeks. But Brunson, I think, what is going on is that it's not the Knicks to sit or play Brunson. What y'all need to understand is Thibodeau leaves that up to Brunson. If Brunson says he's going to play, he's going to play. If he says he can't go, then he can't go. And so it's really going to be a game time decision, but they have to be prepared for if he's not going to play. I don't feel like it's as big a deal on the negative side as some, because I have a lot of confidence in both IQ and Deuce to run the team at this point. I have no problem. In fact, it might be a good thing for them, because there's going to be a time when Brunson won't be able to go. He's not going to be able to go 82 games. So there's going to be a time when they're going to have to go and run the team. And it doesn't matter really which one starts, although I prefer Deuce to start because of the defensive front you get with him and Grimes. Not that IQ doesn't play defense, but he's not Deuce McBride on defense. And so I'd rather have both. I'd rather have that front and know that there at the point of attack is nothing coming through there, which is very key in Tom Thibodeau's defense. But anyway, both of them whichever one starts, both of them would get heavy minutes if Brunson can't go. But let me tell you this from what we've seen of Brunson. If it's not a broken bone, and if it's not a torn tendon, that could get worse if he plays on it. He's going to play. If it's a sprained ankle and it's a bad sprain, he's going to wrap it up and play. Okay, that may not be good for the Knicks because he'd be playing. He could be playing on one leg, and we've seen that movie before with Kemba Walker. But we'll see. So he's listed as questionable at this point. We don't know if he's going to play or not. So we will find out. I'm hoping at some point during the course of the day, there's an announcement made from the Knicks, as to a definite thing, because I'm sure they want to be prepared either way. They have whichever guy, Deuce or IQ, run with the first unit in practice, or at least get a couple of run-throughs, so they're used to playing with that. You don't want them just walking out there suddenly, although Tom Thibodeau always tells us that they need to stay ready, but you still want to have them get some reps before you throw them out there. But we'll see. We'll see today. Now for the Bulls, Alex Caruso is probable, and he's a Nick killer. Ayo Dosunmu is questionable. He had abdomen strained, and he's questionable. But Caruso's probable. Of course, Ball is out, and there's three major Nick killers on the Bulls: DeRozan, Levine, and Vucevic. Vucevic's been a Nick killer since he was in Orlando, and so and then of course Andre Drummond is as well. So this is not going to be an easy game. Don't just look. In fact, you could throw out the records when it comes to the Knicks against the Bulls, because it's going to be a battle royale regardless. So the Knicks have to be on their game. It's very important that they keep a Levine and the DeRozan out of the lane. And of course that they guard the 3-point line, because really Levine and Vucevic and Caruso can shoot the three. So you want to make sure you got to be on the P's and Q's today. This is not going to be an easy game. It's almost going to be like a playoff atmosphere in the sense that not only is it Knicks Bulls, but they're playing each other twice in 3 days. So whatever happens tonight, both teams are going to make adjustments and then be prepared to come out on Friday with those adjustments. So it's going to be interesting. Pat Will is shooting the three at 44%. They got Goran Dragic, he's shooting it at 40%. Vucevic is shooting it at 37%. Levine at 36%. So they got even Caruso shooting it at 35%, as is Derrick Jones. Dosunmu shooting it at 34%. So they got a bunch of guys that are shooting the three very well. This is going to be a real test of the perimeter defense, the improvement as far as perimeter defense for the New York Knicks today, because this is a team that actually can shoot the three at a high level. So again, it's going to be very important that the defense is on point, that everybody knows the schemes and understands where they're supposed to be. Julius Randle, RJ Barrett, and gets to their spots where they're supposed to. Very important today, because these guys will make you pay if you're not. All right. So that's really the game tonight that we're dealing with here. Again, the Knicks, I'm going to favor the Knicks again in this game because of the rotation, because of the 4-game winning streak, in terms of them getting cohesion, in terms of the defensive improvement that we have seen over these 4 games, where the Knicks are the most points they've given up is 102, which is low in the NBA. And then of course we saw them give up 81, we saw them give up 89, and then I think the last game Kings scored 99 or something like that, or maybe they scored 100. But the Knicks have been playing high level defense, and this is going to be the key. Whether they continue to win this evening. If they can win tonight, it would be their 5th straight win. It would go a long way in moving them, solidifying them in the top 6 of the East. Again, you're going to see the jockeying of position in the Eastern Conference. A lot of it's going to come down to a couple of things. Which team peaks at the All-Star break? That's really what you want to do. Which team peaks? And I like the Knicks because they always peak. With Tom Thibodeau teams, they always start to peak after January. And so I like that that's a good sign for us. Which team is healthy at that time? That's also very important. So right now, we're missing Obi, but Obi will return probably. I'm thinking, Martin Luther King game. There's always a matinee game on Martin Luther King's birthday. That Monday, there's always a matinee game, and so the Knicks will have one also. And I'm hoping Obi will be back for that game. That would have been a full 5 weeks from the injury. So yeah, I'm hoping he'll be back, for that game. Let me see. That game is going to take place. That's Monday, the January 16th against Toronto at 3 o'clock. The Knicks usually play good on that day, and I'm expecting Obi to be back before then, really, but hopefully shortly by then. So who's healthy at that second part of the season? Who's peaking at that second part of the season? These are things that are very, very important. Guys that have been lost for the season already, like for example, Detroit is not in the playoff hunt right now, right? But Kate Cunningham's done for the season. A guy that's important as him to their team, and every team has that guy. If you're missing that guy, your chances of peaking, your chances of winning diminish greatly. So for the Knicks, we don't have that one superstar. Julius Randle is playing out of his mind right now, which is why I said yesterday they're going to have to manage around his antics. If he wasn't playing the way he was playing, he'd be traded. Okay? He'd be traded. But right now, the Knicks are in the thick of this thing. He is playing at an all-star level. He's just going to have to be this prima donna that you manage. And it looks like the Knicks have decided to do that. Okay? And yesterday, when he came out with the mea culpa, saying, I cannot put my team in that position, I was being selfish, that is the first time. I think this is his 4th season with the Knicks. This is the first time I have ever heard him come even close to doing something like that. So that in itself is extremely special. And why do I say that? Not because Julius Randle himself is improved, which it does mean as a man, as a player, as a leader, that shows improvement, but for the Knicks in general. Because if you let one guy act out like that, and if one guy can act out and suddenly change the course of a basketball game or make a win or loss for you, other players start to resent that. If you're on that team with that guy, you're not happy, okay? Because he can win you a game or cost you a game. And you don't want to have to go into a game with that unknown, okay? So for him to step up and say, I cannot put my team in that position, that was very selfish of me, that opens the door for everybody to be closer. And everybody understand, okay, this guy's our leader. He's leading by example. He's doing the right thing. That's big time when it comes to pro sports in general. But especially now for the Knicks, because now everybody has that confidence that, okay, we can depend on Julius. He knows his issue, and he knows he has to control his issue. Therefore, when he gets out of control, if a RJ, if a Brunson or somebody steps in front of him and waits and knows Julius, he knows to back off. Okay? Because it's going to happen again. Don't think it's like a dude that's an alcoholic and he goes to NA and he says, I slipped. Everybody says, okay, you slipped, start over from today, and you count how many days you're sober, right? And so he's got to count how many days he ain't argue with the ref, right? And then if he starts to slip, he's got a sponsor there. And that's his whole team. Okay? He's going to have those rough nights. It's going to happen. But we got to manage it. And at least at this point, there's a plan in place to manage it. Okay? There's a plan in place to manage it. So they're going to have to work around it. Like I said, we were not, and I don't think it's reason for anybody to expect the Knicks to go to the Eastern Conference Finals this year. But what we're looking is to see the guys which were in place now. We have the 6 guys in the rotation that we drafted. Okay? And then if and then you got Jericho Sims still, there as well. So if you got the 6 guys in place that we drafted, and then you got Jericho Sims as well, now you got 7 guys that we drafted. You want to see what you have. And in seeing what you have, I believe they're good enough to win 45 games or more. So if they can win 45 games or more, you accomplish 2 things. You develop some of these young players even further. You see what you have in them. And now next summer, you can make decisions as to, you can go shopping, basically. Because that is why they need to trade Evan Fournier, and they take back expiring money for Evan Fournier, Derrick Rose, and Cam Reddish. You take back expiring money, that's $39 million, plus you go into next summer with understanding what you have. Plus, if you were going to trade Julius Randle next summer for something, you have his salary to deal with as well. So now you can look and you can evaluate. You can take your time. See, this ain't NBA 2K. Some of you just throw up names, and it's really frustrating to watch. It's like you have no thought about what you're doing. You have to look at what's available and how does it fit with what you're trying to do. Donovan Mitchell did not fit with what we were trying to do. At the end of the day, he did not. We would cost us young players that we believe will help us win multiple seasons going forward, like Quentin Grimes. So no, that should not have happened, and I'm glad it didn't happen. That's how you have to evaluate it. What is it going to cost you? How does that player fit with what you're doing? That's what you need to do. Okay? Then you can't just do that on the fly. And you got to have a really good idea. Like last summer, we didn't really know what we had with Miles McBride. Even though I knew, I believe, but a lot of people had to see. You got to see, and you still want to see more. You didn't really know what you have with Quentin Grimes until he's got out there and played with the starting unit. Okay? You got to see what you have with these guys. Nobody would have known that Jericho Sims has developed the way he's starting to develop now. Okay? Coming in as a senior, legit senior from college. Now he's 24 years old in his second year, which is kind of old, in today's NBA. But here you got that. So you want to see what you have. And when these guys win together, so they get into the playoffs together, it's a whole different ballgame. And now you got some valuable pieces. And now you could talk about a superstar. You got the draft capital. You got valuable pieces. Now you got to decide which valuable pieces do you want to keep to go with whatever superstar you're looking at so that you can get to the next level. See, 45 wins plus this year, top 6 seed in the East this year. Next year, we're looking for more. Okay? Next year, we'll be looking top 3, top 4 in the East. If we can accomplish the plan I just laid out. If we can manage through Julius this year, we can get 45 plus wins. We can get top 6 in the East. Maybe win a playoff series. That changes everything because now you're ready for that next level. It'll be year 4 of the rebuild, and it's about that time you start talking about, okay, we're starting to knock on the door to ECF now. That's what you need, but you got to look long term. Can't make quick decisions now because somebody's name comes up. Right now, again, I want to stress, if you guys are thinking about anything, what you need to think about, if any player you want us to go after, let's go after this one, you need to understand, who are you giving up in your 9-man rotation that just won 4 straight games? That's what you need to understand. Who are you giving up in the 9-man rotation that just won 4 straight games and is holding teams to under 100 points? Who are you willing to give up? And is that player that you're talking about going to bring us to a new level? Are they going to help us win that kind of way? Can they keep the defense under 100 points? See, Zach LaVine can't do it. He's not that guy. Oh yeah, he'll be flashy. He'll score a lot. He would be box office, as some knuckleheads try to say. But he will not help you with your defense. You'll be back to trying to figure out how to get the defense right because there's another weak guy here. Okay? You need to understand what can that guy do to keep this going without you having to take steps backward. Who in the 9-man rotation are you replacing with whatever name you throw out there? Okay, so that's what we got to think about. So right now, I don't want any of these guys to go because we need that whole 9-man rotation to win together, to play together, to get acclimated together. We may not even need to get a superstar, one of these guys pop out. Suppose Grimes finished the season averaging 25. What you need then? You understand? Suppose Mitch Rob is in the top 10 defensive players in the league and he ends up all NBA defense on the second team, first team. You understand? So you got to see what you have, and you won't know until the season ends. So you got to play this out. Right now, again, we just need to get rid of them 3 guys and replace them with expiring money. That's all we need to do right now. And get some young players that's going to ride the pine this year under Tom Thibodeau and maybe develop, under him over the summer in practice. That's how he do things. So we need some young players that's going to do that. But right now, let's ride with these 9 guys. Let's ride with this 9-man rotation. Let's see what we got, and we'll evaluate come June, come May, come June, come July. Where we at? What's available? Who wants to leave their team? What could they do for us? That's how we got to handle this. Okay? You're going to hear a lot of rumors. But if you understand what I just said in terms of the 9-man rotation, you can squash most of them as BS. Because the Knicks not changing that right now. Okay? Anyway, y'all enjoy your Wednesday. We'll talk. Shalom.